When do you tell someone you are autistic? When dating? The first date? After a few months? Never? Let's talk about it today. Hey, define yourself, for I am the confident autistic. I'm an autistic adult, late diagnosed. And here on my YouTube channel, I share videos that will help you understand autism and build the confidence you need to thrive in a neurotypical world. Because I'm on a mission to empower you to embrace autism confidently. Now, if this kind of content resonates with you, please subscribe to this channel and be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new videos and when I go live, my weekly Q&A live stream. Now, many of us on the spectrum, especially those of us who are late diagnosed or self-identify as autistic, struggle with when and how to disclose our autism in a relationship. The timing really depends on your comfort level, the stage of your relationship is at, and the person that you are with. Now, here are some suggested times that you may want to share your autism status with your significant other. You may want to share that autism status before your first date, especially if you're involved in online dating or connecting through an app or through some other method virtually. And I go into deeper detail on that in another video, which I put a link to it up in the corner here, as well as in this video's description. Another suggested time for when you can share, or when you should share, your autism status with your significant other, it's after a few days when there's a connection. Now, for some of us, we may not want to share that until we feel there's a connection. Maybe we're not comfortable sharing it with everybody. That's fine. Maybe you're not at that point yet. No judgment here. So you may want to make sure there's a connection going. But can get kind of tricky because the stronger the connection is, the more vulnerable you may feel about sharing that you're on the spectrum. So if you want to choose this route, it's fine. Like I said, I don't judge. Okay. But you do want to take that in consideration because the stronger the connection, the more vulnerable you're going to feel sharing it. So I personally believe the earlier the better, but everyone has their own opinion on this. I don't want to tell you what to do because I'm not you. Additionally, another ideal time for sharing that you are on the spectrum is when the relationship starts to get serious. Now, personally, I think it should be right before that or a little bit earlier. I like being upfront with people, but each their own. But definitely, before it starts getting serious, you need to know. You need to share that because when it gets serious, if you haven't shared it and then you do, and heaven forbid, worst case scenario happens, and your partner does not accept it well or does not respond to it well, you're going to feel more hurt. So you want to find this at a time where the risk is at a comfort level where if it does go bad, you're going to be able to bounce back. But then again, you're also asking yourself, well, if I spring it on them too early, am I jeopardizing the relationship? This is why there is no perfect answer to this question. It's up to you. Another perfect time is when challenges arise that make it necessary. Now, the pros and cons to this strategy, and I like to dive into this a little bit. The idea time is to share. Let's talk about this one here. When challenges arise, when it makes it necessary, is not right when you're having a meltdown or about to go into a meltdown. That's not the best time. For example, a good time would be, let's say I was going to be dating, which I'm not going to because I'm married and I like to stay married and I like to keep all my stuff. But if I was dating and knew that I was on the spectrum, because when I was dating, I did not know. One thing that the trigger for me is sensory overload. And let's say my partner said, why don't we go out to a concert? That would be the time to say, you know what? I need to talk to you about something. I have sensory issues. This is why we usually date in quieter restaurants, whatever. You know, this is the time to tell them at that moment, not, by the way, I'm autistic and I'm about to have a meltdown. Watch out. Is not the best timing. So when challenges arise that make it necessary, challenges like planning an event and knowing that's going to be challenging for you, not the moment before you have a meltdown. So take all that into consideration and find what's going to be best for you. Now, some people never disclose that they are autistic to their partner, and that is also an option. However, by disclosing that you are on the spectrum, you can and will be building self-confidence along with additional benefits to yourself, which we'll talk about a little bit more later in this video. Now, how do you share that you're autistic with partner? Great question. The first thing to take into consideration is choosing a comfortable setting. Consider a quiet, private place where you can talk without distraction. I suggest a mutual place where you feel comfortable. And let me explain why I suggest that. You don't want to do it at your partner's house because if it goes wrong, you may feel trapped. And you don't want to do it at your place where if you say this, they feel uncomfortable and they feel like they have to, oh yeah, I'm fine with it when they're not, and give you a false answer. You really want to do it in a mutual place, neutral territory, where you both feel comfortable, especially you, because you're going to be sharing something very personal about yourself, something you feel vulnerable about. So you want to be in an environment that you feel safe and comfortable. Now, when you share your autism status, be sure to be direct but positive. For example, you can start the conversation by saying, I want to share something important with you because I trust you. I'm autistic, which means my brain works a little differently than yours if you're not autistic. And remember, don't assume that they're not autistic. They may be too, and they may say, so am I. You never know. The odds are kind of against that since less than 2% of the population is on the spectrum, but you never know. Sometimes autistic people, neurodiverse people, attract other neurodiverse people. It's kind of magical that way, I think. So when you share your autism status with your partner and knowing that autism is a spectrum and each of us experiences autism differently, be prepared to share examples of how autism challenges you, what you do to overcome these challenges, and if the partner asking is receptive, share with them how they can help you overcome your autism challenges. Now, while sharing your autism challenges, be specific. Instead of saying something like, I struggle with social cues, give an example of how it shows up in your life. When you do share your autism status, be prepared for questions. Your partner may not be familiar with autism, or they may have misconceptions about autism. Be ready to explain to the best of your ability what autism is and what it is in your life. Remember, you do not need to be an expert on the subject of autism. So do not make up an answer if they ask you a question you do not know the answer to. When a question comes up that you do not know the answer, you can say something like, I'm still learning about autism myself, and I will try to find an answer for you. And then obviously keep your promise, keep your word. Also, your partner may not have any questions, and you should be prepared for that situation. And them not having any questions is not necessarily a bad sign. They could be processing what you said to them. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in this video, so stay tuned. So be sure to allow your partner, which is what we want to talk about here, be sure to allow your partner time to process that you are on the spectrum. It is okay if they need time to understand what you've just told them. Remember, you may not have fully accepted you were autistic when you first discovered or learned that you were on the spectrum. The most important thing you must do is to share your autism status with confidence. Be sure to exhibit confidence in who you are. Remember, When you share your autism status, you should be embracing autism, not apologizing for it. Now, there are three types or main types of reactions you should be prepared for when you share your autism status, that is, with your partner, and they are the following. You may get a supportive response, a neutral response, or a negative response. And none of us want a negative, but we need to be prepared for this. Because I know for myself as an autistic adult, if I prepare for every contingency, then no matter what happens, I'm going to be able to handle it and not have burnout, shutdowns, or meltdowns. Now, when your partner asks you questions about autism to better understand what autism is, and how it challenges you, you are likely experiencing a supportive reaction. Because when your partner wants to understand it more, they're supporting. This is a sign, not guaranteed, but it's a sign that you may be in a really good, healthy relationship that's going to be good for you. Now, when your partner acknowledges what you said, but does not ask any questions, this can either be a supportive response because they are still processing what you said, or this could be a sign of a neutral response, or it could be negative reaction. Now, be mindful not to jump to any conclusion. Instead, ask them if they have any questions, or tell them if they have any questions they can ask you at any time. Because they don't have questions now, maybe they have some later. Tell them that you're open to discuss this at any time and when they're ready. Now, I would be cautious to ask them at that moment if this news changes how they feel about you or about the relationship. They could give you a negative reaction because they are still processing what they told you. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of anxiety for us, a little bit of challenging, and sitting on pins and needles until we know how it turned out, because you may not get a instant feedback on it, and the feedback can evolve and change. But it is worth doing this because a healthy relationship, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more in the video, does thrive on honesty. And this is you being open and honest and vulnerable. And being vulnerable can be scary, but it's a key part to developing a healthy foundation for a relationship that will last. And by you showing your vulnerability, your partner can show their vulnerability, and that builds a strong relationship. Now, if your partner dismisses or judges you when you share you are autistic, this is a clear sign you are experiencing a negative reaction. But I'm going to help you prepare for that. The important thing you must remember when you experience a negative reaction to your autism status, which I hope does not happen to you, but I want you to be prepared, is that the negative reaction you receive from your partner says more about the person who is reacting negatively than it is about who you are. I want you to remember that you are an amazing person. And part of what makes you amazing is your autism. Autism gives you a unique view in the world, and it gives you many superpowers. You deserve someone who respects you for who you are and will be supportive of all of your endeavors in life, including your battles with the challenges you face when it comes to autism. Never, never, ever settle for anything less than what you deserve or compromise your values just to be in a relationship. Disclosing your autism status with your partner may be a very vulnerable moment in your life. However, it can help you build confidence, not just in yourself, but when you receive a supportive response from your partner, you will feel more confident that you are in the right relationship and a healthy relationship. Additionally, when you share your autism status, you are encouraging healthy communication in the relationship, which can help the relationship grow. This is because every successful relationship thrives on honesty and trust. Now it's your turn. Share your comments on this video and be sure to like and share this video with others. And until next time, I am the Confident Autistic, Chris Mitchell, reminding you that you are an amazing person, and I'm always here to empower you to embrace autism confidently.